faith, channeling, solidifying energy, and having that sense of freshness and newness in your daily experiences. Um, and having that sense of freshness in your close relationships and agreements. Rejected, embodying states. We talk about kilometers versus miles. The American versus Canadian system. And astral projecting and lucid dreaming. So enjoy everyone on this 6th episode of Guided by Source. And we have our intention for this one is to have a totally fun session. Can't wait for it. And we could just dive right in.
Oh my gosh. And speaking of fun, this has been so much fun putting it together. And it's like the highlight of my week. I always look forward to this.
And then right before we started this, I seriously look forward to it too. And I just love how easy it all came together.
Totally. Actually last week I was rewatching our last episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yay, it's out. Let me watch it. So there's a part where you're talking about like waiting to know if you got a job or not and following up. And then like I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for I had just had an interview that week and I'm waiting to hear back. And as you say, and follow up, I paused it immediately and I was like, oh shit, I need to follow up. So like I ran to my couch, I sat down and I called and I was like, hi, it's Ari. I just want to follow up about the interview, whatever. And I hung up and I thought that was the best thing you could do. Like my job as a salesperson will be like literally all about following up. So I'm like, show them that I do that, and it was just like, and then sure enough, that afternoon they called me and told me I was hired. This podcast is really actually like helping me in my life, it's amazing.
Inspired action, follow it right away.
Like immediately.
It's up for yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, of faith and trust that it took for you to reach this point. Like, wow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's like, it's like, it just seems like to me, like now that I've taken such a big leap but it was like when I had the trust and the faith, it didn't feel as scary as like I know like I could feel scared, but like having the faith, like it was like an alternate feeling of being afraid, and then I think it's like, wow, like all those times where I was afraid and didn't take the risk and it was just that easy, it made it that much more fun this time.
Yeah.
So yeah. Wow, that's a really good question. I think like a mixture of like being like completely fed up with like doing the same thing over and over. I think like there was a fear of like repeating that. So it's like, okay, there's going to be fear somewhere. I'm either going to be afraid of repeating the same thing or I'm going to be afraid of being successful. Well, I'm not afraid of being successful, the fear of failing. And like I had enough courage to just be like, okay, well, either way, I have to try. But I also had like a deeper understanding of like my mission and like my purpose here and like some of the lessons that I'm supposed to learn from doing past life regression. In a past life I had a very similar situation, was working for some people who had a lot of power over me, but I basically was very unhappy and I didn't change anything and I had other hobbies and interests and like wanted to be spiritual, but I was so unhappy and like I allowed that to like take over me and I ended up doing something really stupid and ended up getting killed. So I'm like, so I thought in this life, let me not have to die to learn it again. Let me like actually do it. What's the risk really? Like I'll either die and have to do it again, starting from being a baby, or I could just muscle up and get through this hard time. Like worst case scenario, I die, And best case scenario, like I make it.
I actually, because it's like we're on like really tight deadlines, and like I openly said, I was like, unfortunately, deadlines do not faze me whatsoever. But then I was explaining, I was just like, dude, like no matter what goes on, it's not that serious. Honestly, like in the grand, I love taking that zoomed out bird's eye view of like, dude, this is all I love the setting of like this is all a play, this is all a movie in our soul lifetime, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like we're so much more powerful than we think. And it's like yeah, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Like we're on the leading edge. Like, dude, we need to go for it. And it's like certain things come in our paths to shake us up, to help us move forward in the
Oh yeah.
direction.
Oh yeah. Like
That's
the idea of it not being that serious, like I thought about it, I'm like, okay, if I have to live off my credit cards for a couple
mhm,
of months and I have to talk to my landlord and tell her like unfortunately like there's nothing I can do, I'd have to have those hard conversations, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And I'd have to
yeah,
like let her like, call me every couple days and check in and just be like, I know, and reassure her every time and like borrow from people and like if that's what I have to do, then that's what I have to do, you know what I mean? But like
yeah,
I felt like me being afraid to do those things is the reason why I was so stuck in the same cycle over and over. So
yeah,
I thought, like this, I will pay them back. I'll pay back the credit cards. Like
yeah,
all of that's going to happen. It's just going to be like a rough patch for now, you know?
yeah. Exact situation. So I ended up having to do that when I didn't have a job last year, like
Hmm.
between like March and August. And I have no idea like how I racked up at that time 10K on my
Oh my
credit card.
goodness.
Yeah. And it didn't phase me at all because I've gone through that before and paid it off instantly. Like through manifestation. Like after the Abraham Hicks the Euro trip, I was in that same exact position and like within a few months. Like it was all clear. But this time, I don't know, I guess I just kept spending. Like this like even though I have a full-time job, I just kept spending and I'm up to like 15K now. I'm like, how the hell, bro, what the hell? Like how am I adding to this? But I guess like you even bring that up and like me thinking about it, I was like, whoa, like I'm sure like the average person in my situation right now would be freaking the fuck out. But dude, like I can 100% promise you this shit does not phase me whatsoever. Because it's like, dude, it's gonna get paid off eventually. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing to worry about. Like I
Yeah.
know he's coming in either way. Like who cares?
And the thing is, like, you're not attaching that number to your personal value, your personal
Yeah.
worth. It's like that's just a number. And like you borrowing the money or like, like me like asking my landlord is not like a life death situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's okay. So it doesn't like ruin my worth. It doesn't ruin my worthiness.
Yeah.
And same thing with like the debt. Like it's attached to like your like name, but it's not attached to who you are. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like, okay, what about it? It'll get
And
paid
like
off.
it's gonna get paid. First of all, it's always gonna get paid off no matter what. And two, what's the point of me worrying throughout this whole process? Like,
Yeah.
I'd much rather just feel good and pretty much ignore it at this point, which may sound irresponsible, but then like when you look at it from an energetic perspective, like how is me worrying about it or constantly thinking about it or keeping it in my focus gonna help at all? Like, I'd rather just feel the abundance of my God and enjoy life, and I love spending money anyway, so
Yeah. I literally am here like I can't think of a single reason why that would be helpful. No, nothing.
but that it's like, bro, like that has nothing to do with me, honestly. Like that's just a whole other segment that I don't even have to worry about right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like, you can't really receive money if you don't really know how to spend it, right? So,
That's like, especially like if you want to manifest money, like it's always better to keep the item that you actually want to buy, like that the literal value of the money that you want to manifest versus saying it's like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. But it's like, okay,
mhm.
if you had $1 million right now, how would you actually spend it? And most people don't know that answer because it's like it's just a fantasy idea. So I've been kind of like, and the Rolex has been uh my experiment with that because I know the specific value of it. So I just
Mhm.
keep that. I just want enough money for that right now
Nice.
and for my debt, but I don't think about that. That's
Oh
less
my
fun.
gosh. And what? Oh yeah. But I guess like if you think about it in terms of debt, but you can also like if you think about it in terms of like the fun that you had and the things that you bought, then it's not debt. That's actually like experience and like your abundance actually.
Trip or anything like that. Like, let's say like a flight or a hotel is a lot higher than I expected. I always think back to like my other trips. I can't for the life of me even remember how much I spent on certain trips. And so that's also a testament to it's like, dude, the money doesn't matter. Like what
Right.
I remember is the fun and how amazing it was. Like that's what counts.
Yeah, exactly. And like I think about that Abraham cruise, my first one, when I spent $10,000 on that one, and I remember the number because I just remember being like, wow, like I'm actually gonna spend this, but like I do not want that money back. Like if I were to trade that money back for the trip,
Yeah.
there's no way in hell that I would
Yes.
agree to that. The
Yeah.
trip was so much more valuable than the money.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like it doesn't matter. Like if you really want something, the number value, it's like your Rolex. Like I don't know how much the number value is, but it's like it may seem absurd for a watch, but it's like that's what the watch you want. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's like that's how much money you want to get just to get the watch. You don't even want the
Yeah.
money, you just want the watch.
Yes. Yeah.
Who cares what the number value is?
Around 15.
Okay.
My plan with that, so I'm buying this. It's gonna be a family heirloom and tradition that I want to
Okay.
start. So
Nice.
whenever I have a daughter, or if I end up just having sons, like I want to give it to at least another female down the line.
Okay.
And I want it inscripted on the back. And I
Oh,
want this watch to be passed down from generation to generation as like first of all, so like my energy could carry through the lineage. And I'm gonna be with them like energetically anyway
uh-huh.
as a spirit
Yeah.
guide comes anyway. So, but physically and like just as a sign of abundance in this family. Like
Right.
if at any point down the line they get wobbly or anything like that, like I just want them to look at this Rolex and remember it's like, bro, like we came
Mhm.
from nothing and look where we are now.
True. That's beautiful. And it's not just a watch, it's like more like a symbol. And like it has so much more meaning to it. Yeah. Wow. Oh, that's lovely. I'm so excited. It's gonna make me like so giddy just to see just like flashing it up. Like, stop this. She did it.
That's one of my so like with my dream car, which I'm calling reality car. That's another word shift I've been doing. So it's like you know how
Mm.
people say like dream car, dream job, dream body. I replaced the word dream with reality. So it's my
Mm.
reality car, my reality body, my reality job.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite imagination is I picture I'm in the driver's seat of my reality car with and like my hands on the steering wheel so I could see the rolling. I'm in the car and I'm just like cruising down like beautiful palm trees with the wind
Nice.
there.
Where are you? Like LA, Florida?
I get Cali vibes
Oh yeah.
whenever I have
I
this,
felt I felt Cali too.
right? That's like days to
Yeah, for real. Oh my gosh.
vibration, do reality soon
Oh
too.
yeah. Actually, funny story, on my way home today, I went out to the grocery store and get some gas. Actually, oh, I forgot to get gas. On my way home, I was thinking, I'm like, what is the SUV that Nissan has? I couldn't remember what it was called. And like, I'm gonna have to know all these things, but not yet. Like, they'll train me, but whatever. I'll figure out all the details. But I was like trying to remember what it's called, and I said, I was like, watch, I'm gonna see a bunch of them. So I get to the stoplight, and like on my right, coming out of the plaza, is a white Nissan, and I couldn't see the back of any of them. Okay, at at the left, someone on the opposite side, someone taking a left in also a white Nissan SUV. The person directly behind me in a white Nissan SUV, and directly in front toward me. So there are four
What?
all facing me within like a minute of me being like, watch, I'm gonna see. I didn't even drive like 2 kilometers. And I'm like, oh, here they are.
Ooh, what if that's your first sale?
Oh my
Like
God.
a white Nissan
Let's
SUV.
see. My friend drives one too, and I think she's probably gonna need a new one soon. So I'm
Mm.
looking out.
That it's always randomized, the people
Mm,
that you're gonna interact with. I don't
yeah.
know why, that shit excites me so much because the
Yeah.
universe can put anyone in front of you.
Exactly.
It's like a completely open plate.
That's what I love. That's what I adore about sales is that like you get to meet people, and it's like you have like a reason. It's not like you're just like walking around outside being like, hey person, you know what I mean? It's totally fine too, but like, you know, like you don't have to like, it's not like a weird thing. It's like you have something they want, and then you can get to know each other that way. So it's like it's an excuse basically to meet people. Yeah. And like I also love that too, like the randomness of the people. And you always meet people. It's like I wouldn't typically like approach you or hang out with you. Like we wouldn't be running in the same circles. But now
Yeah.
because of this thing, we get to know each other and like, wow, how much actual like benefit we bring to each other's lives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Much fun for like just like in general, like interacting with like these random people. And I love, yeah, like being in the position of an open slate. I think that's why I love traveling so much too, because like when you think about it, it's like you have no expectation. So the universe can completely cultivate the perfect
Mm-hmm.
environment with the perfect people and the
Yeah,
perfect setting to like allow certain things to happen.
that's so true.
Which makes
Yeah.
me
You're not like
I don't,
pre-paving, or like you're pre-paving like how you want to feel, like excitement, fun, new stuff, you know, but like you're not trying to like paint the details and resistant to it
yeah,
looking different, you know.
yeah. I need to myself because I feel like I'm so used to my neighborhood, my family,
Hmm.
like things that I see, I place them on an energetic level to always be the same because that's what I'm expecting.
Hmm.
Versus like if I'm in a new setting, like I get this excited, giddy feeling. It's like, oh, what am I going to see today? But it's like, and I notice I don't do that in my normal environment here, which I want to practice more because it's like that sense of newness really
Hmm.
applies to everything. Like just because we're in the same room day after day doesn't mean I don't know, like that freshness could take
Yeah,
place.
I totally get what you mean. It reminds me of this time when I used to live in Toronto, downtown Toronto, and it was very busy. And I traveled to Jamaica for a couple of weeks, and I just thought like, and then when I got back, I was at Union Station. There were like hundreds of people passing by, and I thought to myself like, imagine I was like fresh from Jamaica and I had never been here, and like I just imagine myself being like, holy crap, like all the people just like totally overwhelmed, like don't know where things are. And as I was like, I literally got lost as I was like embodying that, like, what the heck? And I was like, wow, that really feels like, just for a second, like it really felt so real, you know? So maybe you can ask, like, how would it be, like, you know, like you live in New York City, like a lot of that's like a destination for a lot of people. It's like,
Yeah.
how would someone for the first time in New York City feel? Like, what would they find interesting? Like, what would they notice, you know?
I guess like I don't do that like if I'm in Manhattan or like Brooklyn. Like I always think about like, dude, what if I was like a farmer in Kansas and I've never even seen a building more than one story. And here I am in New York and it's like you have to like
Whoa.
completely look all the way up and sometimes you don't even see the top of buildings. Like that's
Gotta
how
hold
tall
your
they
head.
are. Yeah. I like I just and transported someone from like the 1700s. Like to be with me right now, it's like what would their perception be right now? It's like with all
Oh
this
my God.
technology. It's
Wow.
yeah, it's like we do
Yeah, when it's the same.
yeah. And
Or
it's
when
like
we assume it's the same, so we just see the same thing.
yeah. And in my mind, like we're solidifying everything instead
Hmm.
of in fluid. Like
Yeah.
when you're experiencing something new, because it's like you have no idea what to anticipate.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I do that a bit too, but like it's definitely like mostly like in my home and with like my close
Mhm.
relationships. Those are
Yeah.
like kind of the same. Like going out, I'm always like in awe. But like in my house, and it's like in a way it's like maybe like it is helpful sometimes to have like certain programs that are already just there, you know, like
Yeah.
you don't want to have to think like how do I brush my teeth or how do I walk? Like you want to just, you know. But
Yeah.
sometimes there's certain patterns and certain things that's like, I could really do without that, you
Yeah.
know? Or I would like it to be new, because then when it's new, then you can allow it to change, right?
And my two greatest examples of that is when I had a lot more resistance with my dad. I remember my friends were visiting and uh they went into like the family grocery store. And when we came back to my apartment, my friend was like, "Your dad is so friendly and nice." I can't tell you, bro, I was legit shocked to hear that. My first reaction was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? This dude is a dick." Like, but she got to experience that freshness and newness
Right.
and tap into
Yeah.
that energy of him versus I was so solidified and put him in this box from my own perception. And
Right.
then on the flip side, with my friend's dad, I got to meet him and did like he's amazing. Like so sweet, so friendly, so considerate. And I noticed like when my friend and him were interacting, like she was just so annoyed by him. I was like, Dad,
Mm,
like, oh my dad, shut up. Like, and it just whoa. And it's just like, whoa, like I'm in that position right now. And it's like that's kind of sad too when you think about it. It's like
yeah.
we're boxing specific people in and not allowing them to change just
Right.
because we're so used to them in a certain way.
Mhm.
And I do try to, I think about that too. It's like whenever I have problems with someone, I always think about, like, all right, if I met them literally right now for the very first time, what would I think about them? And I love doing that with family because it's like, I definitely take them for granted too. Like,
Yeah. I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, like after this conversation, I'm gonna be thinking about it a lot more. Like, how can I approach this like it's brand new? You know, and
yeah.
not have like, I guess they're like resentments, or like sometimes it's like behaviors that you expect. I guess like the really cool thing about like with my son is that he is like also maturing, so he's like changing
Mhm.
anyway, you know. So like
Yeah.
he used to like be like a lot more like he would like leave stuff around the house, and like I know that you're very excited to say something. Okay. It's like I do see that. You're like,
A whole awesome dream. I don't remember the
oh,
details now, and I wish I remembered. But we were just on an adventure, and I think it was like kind of like a cruise, like that. It was from like the cruise experience,
oh,
basically, with all of
sweet.
us together in my dream. I completely forgot about that.
Nice.
That's the only reason I was excited.
Oh my gosh, no, that's exciting. And you know what? That like at that like a case in point is like when we went on the cruise, and like you and Carla and Rebecca, like you were all like in love with him, and like didn't see
Mm.
like anything. And somebody had said something like I got a weird text message, and all of you are like, that's it's the wrong number, like that couldn't be him, like, you know. And like you like all of you were like, sure, like that could not be true. Like the person I know is not that, you know. And like you guys just like adored him and loved him. It like actually like, not that I didn't before, but it gave me a more beautiful point of view of him, and our relationship has strengthened since that, because I'm like, that is the part of him that I want to see more. And so like you guys really illuminated it, and like, yeah, I really appreciate that. And it changed because we're outside of our normal circumstances, right? So
Yeah.
like it was easier to like expect a new version, right?
Text message happened, by the way.
I
Like,
know.
so what
Whatever.
happened? Like, cruise. Goddamn.
Insignificant.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think it was some kids that like from our town who like were just trying to like get him in trouble,
So messed up.
because it wasn't true. Because they had
Yeah.
said that he had done something that weekend, and we were on the cruise that weekend. And then later, like a couple months later, the same phone number texted me again saying, and I was like, "Are you sure?" And they're like, they said like, "Oh, you're his mom or whatever. This is his mom's number," and they had his name. So I was like, okay, they're texting the right number, talking about the right person, but they're absolutely false, because they're trying to say that he did something when he was like in Hawaii. Okay, BS.
Bullshit.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I haven't heard from them in a while, so it was silly. I just love how everyone was like, no, it's
Yeah.
not
No.
true. It's the wrong
Oh,
number.
dude, like that part is like, dude, like we're all so intuitive. Like if we're all agreeing on something, it's like, bro, like
Yeah.
That's so much more amplified. It's like this can possibly like there is no way that this is true.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's what I felt too. Cause, and like everyone had said in their own way, it's like not only do I not think it's true, like I know it's not true.
Yeah.
Like on like a psychic level.
Some
Oh
of that
god.
spiritual
Pardon?
friends are like people really in tune with their intuition and their own feelings. It's like if someone says something like
100%.
I trust that so much more, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Ooh, on the topic of psychic things. So, as you know, my birthday was a couple of days ago. Thank you very much. And I know yours is not tomorrow, but the next day, 18th, right?
Yeah, on Monday.
Well, happy early birthday.
Thank
Um,
you.
so you're welcome. But I'll tell you happy birthday on your birthday too. Don't worry. So, okay, I was like pretty busy like on my birthday, so I didn't actually get to do my meditation. But the next day, and it may have this. The reason why I preface it with my birthday was that I think it might have to do something with my birthday. Like for one, I turned 34, and my favorite number is 33, and my favorite age had been 33.
Mhm.
During that year, I was like, this has been the best year ever. It could. I'm not saying that 34 won't be better. I'm actually don't believe that it won't be. The 34 is gonna be better. Basically. But like I was kind of like, like I had before I turned 33, I was given a number by my spiritual guide and the number was 33. So I thought it might have something to do with my age. So I
Mhm.
thought, "Oh, like what happens when I turn 34? Will that number mean anything?"
Mhm.
And during a session that I did, like a hypnosis session where um, it was another hypnotist, she helped me get into trance and I channeled for her and she asked me, like, what does the number 33 mean to you? And the the message was that it's kind of like a smiley face sticker. When you see it, it's a smile. It's just like a little like reminder that we're with you and it's like, like a little smiley face. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Anyway, so yesterday I was watching a video about these two channels and they were talking about how they first started channeling. And I didn't even finish the video. It was like a couple minutes in, and I was like, I was gonna go for my meditation, but I was so excited about their video that they just released it. I was like, oh, I want to watch it. And I was like, no, like do the meditation, then watch it. So I lay down, I do my meditation, and as I'm coming out of the trance, like I'm sort of like my body's still asleep, but my mind's more back in like the room a little bit. I'm like awake and I start feeling like these twitches and surges and my body's like jerking, right? And I felt this before, but maybe not as like strong. And it was pretty like intense. And it felt good too. It wasn't like any like painful jerking or anything like that. So I start talking in my mind and asking questions to and I'm thinking like this must be like a spirit interacting with me. So I'm like I said I was like, are you here to heal me? And the answer, like, and I could tell that the yes was like more jerking and electric feeling,
Mhm.
and like no was like silence. So there was like a no, and I was like, are you here to play? And then it was like a yes. And like my mouth kept going in this big, goofy smile. Okay. So then I was asking all kinds of questions like, are you from Earth? Nothing. I'm like, are you from outer space? Nothing. I'm like, are you interdimensional? Big smile. So I'm asking all kinds of questions and I'm like, okay, this is really fun. And I knew because like I could just tell like the subtle things. It's like they were moving my body in ways that like I wouldn't expect. Like if I wanted to make my finger jerk, I would think about my finger, but then my foot would start jerking. I'm like, okay, I didn't do the foot thing. So it's like I was kind of testing myself too. Like, am I just like imagining this or like doing it to like I don't know, please myself? But no, it was like always like something I didn't expect. Um anyway, so I'm having this conversation and for some reason I'm like because of the smiles, I'm like, okay, Mr. Smiles. And then another big smile, I'm like, do you want me to call you Mr. Smiles? Yes. And I'm here in my bed laughing so hard because every time they answer me, they make my face look so dorky.
I thought it was a man.
like someone flirting with me.
And then
So
like
maybe he is,
all the
but
mistakes.
I'm
That's
like,
such a beautiful signal too. Like if it's
yeah.
a yes. I love that. And did did that connection, I'm guessing it felt safe.
It felt like, honestly, it felt like, yeah, like it was so familiar that it wasn't even like familiar is like almost too unfamiliar to describe it. It was almost like, it's almost like it was part of me, you know? But like
Yeah.
it wasn't like me. Like it wasn't like I'm
Mhm.
trying to like find the right words to like describe this. Like
I think I'm understanding.
it felt like something that's like a part of me, but it wasn't like my own, like my main personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's
I
the
feel
best
that.
I can do right now. Maybe Mr. Smiles will give me a hand and explaining it.
Good question.
Yes. And I was kind of like feeling a little bit like frustrated with my sister a little bit. And I was kind of like, and then I even said to myself, I'm like, Ari, like this is not unconditional love. This is not, like, because I kind of just felt like, well, I'm the older sister, so I always have to be the bigger person. I'm like, but like, that's not really fair. But
Yeah.
then I'm like, so it doesn't matter. Unconditional love is unconditional love. And Mr. Smiles told me to get up and go hang out with her and go make a joke. And I was like, okay. Like, thanks. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, so I got to meet again Mr. Smiles. Oh, and I watched the video after I finished my meditation and I actually got up. And there, it was, I can't remember why the guy's name has escaped my brain at this moment. But yeah, it was an interview. So it was Jessie
Oh,
Herman, and she channels an entity called Vagrian. And oh gosh, I can't remember his name right now. But anyway, he was saying that when he first started channeling, he was getting like the twitches and the energies, and like a yes would be like the like surges of twitching, and the no would be like silence. And I was like, wow, like that's literally what just happened.
video, dude.
And it was almost like exactly identical the experience. I was like, that's so funny.
Dude. Really? That's so
Yeah,
exciting.
it is so exciting. And like this is something that like I set out that I wanted to do. Like when I heard about Abraham, I was like, I want to do that. But I had tried so many times. I would like sit there and I'd be like, channel, and nothing would come out, or I'd be like, no words, no nothing. I'm like, ah. Then I kind of like I went on like this weird kind of like spirally goose chase, like learning about hypnosis and how to get in trance and
Yeah.
da 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 da. And the next thing you know, I'm channeling. I'm like, oh, and it only hit me after I had done that channeling session with that other hypnotist
Mhm.
that I did what I said I wanted to do. I was like, oh, I manifested this from like over a year ago. I said I wanted to do this. I didn't know that wild goose chase was going to lead me to the exact moment. Pardon?
Beginning, like kind of like the, or did
Yeah, no. I feel like it's like a gradual thing. I've always kind of been doing it. And I didn't realize because I like with music, like I would be like channeling music all the time. Like I would write songs, and by the time I'm done the song, or like even certain lines, I'd be like, wow, like I didn't feel like I wrote it. Like I knew I like wrote it and sung it and but it always like surprised me. It's like that wasn't existing in my mind or in my existence. It just sort of like showed up and ended up like on paper or on recording. And like I was always like, wow, but I didn't realize that that was like the beginning of channeling.
yeah.
And I didn't realize how like actually easy it is. Like the way that Esther does it when she channels Abraham, for example, she completely goes in trance and like she doesn't remember, and so or
Yeah.
like sometimes fragments, like very much like as if she just had a dream,
Hmm.
but she doesn't remember. um and at first I thought I wanted to do that, and then I realized that I could do it without having to completely like go away, and I actually prefer that because I could be channeling in the middle of a conversation, and like I also want to be part of it. I want a piece of the information. You know how good it feels to have that inspiration come out and like land on someone and like move them? Like that feels good to witness and be there. So like I don't ever want to be like, oh, it's just my idea or whatever. Like, no, I'm picking up information from
Mhm.
outside sources, but like I want a part in it, you know?
Yeah.
So but I never thought at first I was like, no, I want to like black out like Esther and like forget. But like my guides were like, you're not gonna do that. And at first I was like, oh, but now I'm just like, oh, that's so much better. At least for me, you know? Like everyone is their own, but for me that worked out, you know? So
Like,
yeah. That's actually the only way that you could channel is by being truly present.
mm,
Like, um, I mean, in a sense, like you're being like so focused that like you go into trance. Some people, so it's I don't know, I wouldn't call it present exactly, but like if you are gonna be like like if you are gonna be there while you're channeling, you have to be present because you have to be very aware of the subtle vibrations and the changes of thought or things that are coming out are always like new to you and you have to be
yeah.
able to sense them. And then you also have to be discerning like, did I think that up or did that thought, what did I receive the thought? Did I think the
Yeah.
thought or did I receive the thought?
That reminds me a handful of times. Usually when I wake up and I'm still kind of like in that halfway point of like I'm awake, but it's like, dude, I could sleep like any second right now. I fucking love that
Mm.
state to like start imagining and stuff like that and just like think like so many positive thoughts and then talk with my guides too. And the other day, I forgot like what I was saying, what the conversation was, but like I just heard like someone shouting at me and it was a man. It seemed like a masculine voice and I was like, dude, because even like the conversations with my guides, it's kind, it's like in my voice, you know, but it's like I know it's them. But this time it was just like a completely different voice, and it's just like the energy was so much more different. I was like, "What the fuck was that?" Like, and then like I just like I had to get up at that point, otherwise like I would have kept probably asking questions to get more info. But it's just so cool. It's like even in that communication, it's like it's seriously completely outside of you sometimes.
Mm. Yeah. It's like, and that's like the subtle art. Like sometimes, like if someone's like yelling or like you hear a voice and you're like, okay, whose voice is then
Yeah,
like you but yeah, like sometimes like you said, like it is your own voice and like your own thinking voice. So it's like
yeah,
but then there's just that like subtlety of like it being like fresh and new or it being like you thought it, you know? It's actually so much fun to like sit and like examine your thoughts. The child version of me, I'd be like, are you crazy? That sounds so boring. Like, party? What was I thinking?
speak this with this like on different topics. So it's like the being the hyper awareness of like the little shifts and thoughts coming up.
Mm.
Um, so I've been noticing that like with my family and like now because it's like topics, pretty much topics that I've struggled with my whole life. I'm so much more sensitive to any changes in my thoughts or resistance. Like if I feel, because usually I'm like here with my energy, like on such a positive state, then it's like anything that brings me down even a tiny bit, I'm like, okay, something I gotta work on this. Like I know there's something for me to clear right here, or like just be more mindful of.
Mm.
Um, and it's so funny, like at least for me, being level of consciousness, I think that doesn't align to this level, it feels so crazy for me to even like think about that. So it's like I've noticed myself like not believing that I could lose weight fast enough, for example. Um, or it's like just having those thoughts, it's like, oh, like I shouldn't eat that. Like, it's like, what the fuck? This whole reality is mine. Like I like one example, and even Abraham brings it up, it's like, dude, like if you ate Cheetos and chips and chocolate all fucking day and you truly believed you wouldn't gain weight from it, you wouldn't. And so it's like I'm applying that principle to every area of my life. Like
Mm.
everything, all the outcomes is based on what I believe is gonna happen, truly believe.
Mm.
Um, and so it's like whenever I get those thoughts of basically I don't want to happen,
Yeah.
and like prepare for it. Yeah. So it's like I've been like, and I've been taking that to every area of my life. So it's like, even with my family, it's like if I expect a certain person to be in a bad mood, and I'm thinking about it, it's like, why am I pre-paving this? And
Yeah.
it's, it's like, and I've been so sensitive to that. Like as soon as those types of thoughts come up, I'm like, whoa, 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 nah. All right, what do I want to happen? And then I just start imagining that.
Wow. I mean, that's like at least like let's say you have 24 hours in a day and you're like thinking that whole time, or while you're awake you're thinking. It's like you're thinking either like the best thoughts or the worst thoughts.
Pretty much. Yeah, dude. Or not
Despite the
thinking at all.
actual thing that's happening. It's like how much
Yeah.
of that are you thinking about, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. I heard this saying, and it was like a Buddhist monk. It could have been Buddha, or it could have been like maybe it was Thich Nhat Hanh. I can't remember for sure. But
Hmm.
the saying anyway was worrying is to suffer twice. So it's like you suffer the injury while worrying about it, and then if it actually happens, then you actually suffer it. It's
Yes.
like why do it twice? You know?
Dude, and speaking of all the phases, actually last year, like I had my main intention was to have more non-thinking segments in my day.
Mm,
Like really just being so present. It's like I'm not thinking about anything, not the future. It's like, dude, I'm just here. And it just reminded me, dude, I haven't done that in so long. I gotta get back to that.
mm, yeah. That's like but that's the crazy thing is people don't realize that's channeling. It's like channeling your higher self by like being present. You're like, what would my higher self do in this exact moment? Which kind of even goes back to like what we were saying before about like going like our routines in our lives that like we just kind of like go through like a pattern, kind of expect the same thing. Like that's not really our higher self choosing. We're not channeling our higher self. We're channeling our personality, that we
Yeah.
created, but we're not really channeling like what would higher self do in this moment? How would higher self feel about this?
Yeah.
And like it's sometimes like people like they think of channeling like oh words coming out of a mouth and like translating basically.
Mhm.
But it is a translation if like you're painting or acting or like even as you're folding your clothes, that like act of love that you're doing to yourself to tidy your place and prepare yourself, like that's channeling that energy of like love into your home, into your from yourself, right? Yeah.
Neighbor, he does not clean whatsoever. So like he had a lot of roaches and I noticed but like I manifested I was like roaches don't come into my apartment whatsoever. But I'll get like a few here and there and it's got to the point like even if I'm cleaning, dude, if I see one, like I can't kill it whatsoever. Like I just have to let it go and it's just like I'll try to like step on it and stuff like that. And I'm like but I kind of just like laugh to myself because like me even 5 years ago or like definitely 10 years ago would have just like smashed the shit out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think you can talk to them, you know? Like I had an experience. Your face is you're so adorable. Okay, I'll tell you this part and then you'll tell
No,
me.
go ahead.
So I had an experience. I was filming a video for my YouTube page, and I used to like doing it in the cemetery, and I did it at sunset. So like it was like very beautiful lighting, and like there was like trees and grass behind me. Like it wasn't like with like the headstones or anything. It was like a nice little like sitting area that was like very private at the back and quiet. So I was like, oh, I like to film it there. So it was sunset. So like just behind me it was a bit darker already. So the mosquitoes started coming out. And they just like out of nowhere just like swarm me. And they started biting me and I'm like trying to film and I'm like, ah. And I'm like, okay, guys, for just a few minutes, could you please let me film this video? And like just there are like I know there are plenty of other things to eat out here. You can go find them. Like just leave me alone for a couple of minutes. And sure enough, immediately they stopped biting me. I had
Wow.
enough time to film my video, and as soon as I stopped filming, I started feeling them biting me again. I was like, okay, thanks.
Aw.
I waited. I was
Yeah.
like, they really listened to me. Like, they really were like, okay.
In nature interrupted in any way like that, like or
Yeah.
like the like buzzing in your ear and shit like that.
Yeah. And like, and actually, like, talking to them too, like, I felt like they were like, because I can't be mad at them for biting me when I'm like in their environment. Right. So it's like, how fair is that? But at the same
Yeah.
time, and it's like, what is their environment and my environment? They're not thinking like that. They're like, we're mosquitoes, we exist here.
You
You
have
know,
you have
apparently so does our
mosquitoes.
lunch. But like just speaking to them and respecting them and kind of like being like, can we like coexist, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, I respect that. Yeah.
Consciousness.
Everything. Something that like I learned in one of my past life regressions, one of my clients, when he was in trance, he kept using the term universal language. And I asked him, like, what is the universal language? I'm like, is that telepathy? He's like, yeah. So, like, telepathy is the universal language. Like, thought is the universal language. So we can actually, like, communicate with anyone, anything. Like trees, for example. How do we communicate with trees? It's telepathic. Same with our cats and our dogs and, like, even each other sometimes. Like, more often than we think.
Yeah.
You know, funny thing, yesterday I was going through like our videos. I was making like a little like video and I was like collecting like screenshots. And
Hmm.
as I pause the video and every 10 seconds, I notice like we're always making like a very similar face. And I'm like, we're so in
Really?
sync. Yeah, that like even our faces are matching.
That's
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And also I heard something about like when people like let's say there's like you're arguing with somebody, your two brain patterns are not in alignment, and that's why like there's an argument, and like it'll keep getting worse because like you both will keep trying to like make the other one like align with your brain pattern, but it's not happening, so you just like cause like a bigger rift. But when you're in alignment with something, your brain patterns will actually morph and morph to become more and more alike. Like this is a scientific fact.
ever heard in my life. The brain patterns are not aligned.
Yeah.
I fucking love it when things are simplified.
Yeah. Actually, oh my God, I saw
Oh,
this. I saw this post today. It was a lawyer, and he was talking about. He's like, this is what you want to do in any situation where there's an argument. Is like first, like you want to come to an agreement about something. The agreement might be like, yes, I agree that this is an important thing to talk about. And like
mhm.
that, and he never said anything about brain alignment, but I'm like, that is what brain alignment is: coming to agreement, even about something, even if it's about, yes, we're in this room together discussing this thing. Then we're like, okay, yes, that's true. Yes, this is a topic we should consider. Yes, that's true. That's more like it's getting into alignment with that person. I want to use that with sales. Yeah.
Holy shit. You're gonna learn.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about having a job that like I can tell everybody, and like having something to sell that I
Mm.
could sell to anybody. Like when I was a
Yeah.
dancer, I couldn't tell, like I could tell people, but I always had to do it a certain way at the right time. Because if you just lead with that, then they're gonna like, like make assumptions or whatever. So you kind of like want to work about it to like tell people, or like if I wanted to like sell my services, like I could only sell to a select type of person. I couldn't
Yeah.
sell to my neighbor. I couldn't sell to my family members. Like it was like, but like now it's like anyone I know, I can like sell them services, sell them a product, right? And it's like I'm excited about that. And even just like talking about it, like people just not like even at the gym, like let's say, or like anywhere in public, you meet somebody, you're talking, and they're like, oh, what do you do? If I would be like, oh, I'm a dancer, then the first thing they're gonna picture is me in my underwear. And then they're like, oh really? And then they get all weird. So like now I can be like, oh, I'm a car salesperson. Then they'll just picture me selling cars, like in probably more clothes than I'm wearing. You know? So it's not gonna get weird.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that, I am a beautiful woman anyway, but like it's not gonna get weird that quickly. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about daytime hours.
Oh,
Waking up with
yeah.
the sun. Yeah, for real. And also like it's a smaller environment there. Like where I used to dance, there were like 100 girls working at a time. And that's like a lot of competition,
Whoa.
and like also like very much alcohol induced. And it was just like it was a
Yeah.
lot, which was great practice because conflict resolution, I am a genius at that. But
A great skill that's cultivated when you're
mhm.
being so present. And on in like a higher state of consciousness, it's like you know how to bring someone up with you because you're never going to stoop to their level. Like you're
Right.
pretty much forcing them to reach your level at that point, or at least like try to aim to you instead of you going down to them.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, funny story. I had like I may have mentioned this in another episode, but like I have quit and then restarted that job so many times.
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm never going back. I'm gonna finally do something else and whatever. So one time, pardon?
It's happening.
I
This
know.
is
So one time I had taken off a couple of months and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back. But before I go back, and this is like when I started reading Neville, I'm like, I'm going to like imagine everyone like running up to me, all the girls like hugging me and be like, we missed you, like where have you been, like it's been like months, we didn't see you. Even the manager, who's like known to be like a complete like very difficult person to talk to, like he never smiles, like if you ask him anything he's always like no, like if you're late even 1 minute he'll charge you like a fee. Like, so I thought to myself, I was like, okay, like I'm just imagining these people running. Even the manager, I imagine him like being like, we missed you, like where have you been, it hasn't been the same without you. And sure enough, when I got back, like there was no drama whatsoever. People actually came up and hugged me. And I was like, and in the manager too, like my license had expired and it was expired already for a week, but I needed the money and I couldn't even buy a new license without that, without working that night. So I was like really stretched. And I come in and I'm like just like praying he doesn't notice. But he looks at it and he looks at my license, he reads it and he looks at me, he's like, it's about to expire, right? And I was like, oh yeah. He's like, you better get that done right away. And like I went to the bathroom and I was like, oh my God, I love him. And I was like, oh, I never thought I would say that in my life. About to. Yep. It was like I literally I was like, it felt like I walked into like a movie set and all the same actors were there, but like they changed their characters and they're like, okay, we're playing this now. We're gonna play nice instead of mean villains. And I was like, I know that happened because I changed my feeling about them, and
yeah,
like in my mind, I was like, okay, we're friends now.
so fun. And I had that useful. Well, I guess like for me at work, whenever it was starting to get like a little bit difficult, like I would start to feel like a tiny bit overwhelmed or stressed out. Um, Sometimes I feel like I was like, oh fuck, like I know I'm not perfect. I can, like to my own standards. And for some reason, like, and this was like that an example of like that hyper awareness of like
Mm-hmm.
if I felt like a teeny bit of resistance, I was like I needed to clear it. And I noticed like when I would get into that zone of like not feeling like I'm doing enough, I would automatically assume that everyone else for some reason sees that too. And I was like, wait,
Mm-hmm.
fuck that. Like, why am I automatically thinking that like why am I led me to, you know? It's just all projection. I have no idea what the fuck they think about me. So I was just
That's
like,
so funny.
instead of doing that, so like I just imagine that everyone thinks I'm an absolute rock star at what I do, and they have nothing but immense respect for me.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why. Like even like those kind of difficult people, bro. For like 2 days straight, like almost everyone I talked to, like I would get messages of like, "You're amazing, you're the best." And because I was specifically using the word rock star in my intentions, dude, you don't know how many times people have called me a rock star. It's
Wow.
so insane. And it's like people like I would never expect it from either. And it's just like
Oh
every time
my
that happens,
God.
I created this dude. Like,
That's
bro,
amazing.
like low key, I'm a complete goof off. Like I'm passionate about what I do, but it's like I don't give a shit in that sense. Like, you know? I'm
Right.
just having fun here. Like compared to like I'm sure other people are like I gotta get this done. Oh my god, this is so important. Like for me, it's just like this is fun, bro.
Yeah, but that they're choosing that, right? They're
Exactly.
choosing to take it so seriously where they could just be like, I'm a rock star. Everyone
Yeah.
loves me. It happened.
And
It basically gets itself done.
yeah,
They could choose to think that too, like how you think it.
many freaking intelligent, like incredible. Some of the smartest people I've just legit ever met in my life. Like So I'm like, how does your brain like even hold that much information sometimes, you know? And I'm getting more positive attention than them. And I'm just like, wow, like, bro, it's such a testament to like you're creating everything.
Yeah. I
Like it
mean, like
doesn't matter
humans,
how,
right?
yeah.
And that's what life is about, is like life is really more about connection than it is about like physical things
Mm,
anyway.
yeah.
So if like you're hitting those points with them, like really like creating like a real connection, and it's fun to be around you and they just feel better as a person just in your presence, like of course you're getting positive attention. That's what people
Yeah.
are working so hard for anyway, is to have more connection and more fun and joy, right, in life. So yeah, you're a rock star.
But I'm sure, like, dude, like I have no doubt
Oh,
how many other people you're gonna be working with. But it's like, dude, you know, like, bro, you're gonna be a fucking shine.
yeah. I feel like I feel like although like I will say like I do have extensive sales like background. Like I've worked
Yeah.
in sales for like 6 years, so there is that. But I
Yeah.
feel that like that was like okay, like it was on my resume enough that like my employer called me. But when I met with her the second time, she was like, you are a natural. She's like, I actually, as soon as you left the room, I told everyone how excited I was about you. She's like, I can't wait for you to be on the team. Like, you're just so cool and so fun, and like you're like bubbly and bright, and like you're just gonna do so well here. Like, and how excited she was. I was like, actually, like, oh, I'm like, this is almost like a personality hire. Although, like, I am getting paid commission, so
Energetic hire. They
yeah.
know
Okay.
what you're looking for.
Yes, exactly. But that's the thing. It's like it isn't your personality; it's your spirit that
Yes.
shines through. Yeah, I
Yes.
like that actually. Good point.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Because I
it
can
was
say the same
funny.
for me. Like I'm an
Oh,
average like, in that sense. It's like, bro, there's so much more people qualified than me, like having like 10 certifications and I only have two. Like I'm young as hell. Like I'm working with like 40, 50, 60 year olds. Like from the outside, it makes no sense why I'm there. But clearly my energy is needed there. So that's why I'm
yeah.
here.
Exactly. It makes it like when you have like positive energy around you, it makes even those boring things where you have to like fill in boxes or write these reports or whatever, it makes that part fun because you're in a
Yeah.
good mood and you're just excited to go to work. So like
Yeah.
it's like that's actually huge. And a lot of businesses and like cultures in businesses like they they thrive when there's like a good vibe in the space,
Yeah.
when people are actually excited to get to work. So, and you feel it. Like I actually, oh gosh, I applied to work at BMW, okay? Only because like I drive a BMW and I'm like, it'd be cool to work at that place, kind of for the name too. And like I know someone who works there, like a salesperson, and I was like, hey, like, would you point me in the right direction, like to talk to whoever is hiring or whatever? So he introduced me to the floor manager, and he looked really excited to meet me. And then he's like, oh, what experience do you have? And I said, okay, I worked as a dancer for the past 4 years, and so like I have a lot of sales experience. And then he just looked me up and down. He's like, yeah, you're not what we're looking for. And I was like, okay. But I was just like so high at the fact that I even tried. I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta like keep going. But I just remember the first time, like, and I'm just remembering this now. The first time I took my car in to get serviced, when I walked in, everyone was like, kind of like, do you have an appointment? Like, and then they were just kind of like, and I was like, this is BMW. Like, why aren't people like, hi, thank you for coming in. Like, we've been waiting for you. Like, the price tag and the service didn't match up. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of actually really glad I didn't get hired there because it just felt like if
Would have
that's
been a
what it's like. Yeah. So, yeah. And for like a lot of other reasons now, thinking back, I'm like, oh, I'm actually glad. Like, this place is closer. Oh, she's awesome. She's
Aw.
awesome. And
Yeah.
the funny thing I asked her was like, so what about my resume did you like? And she's like, no one has ever asked her that before. I don't know if that's what people ask in interviews, but I was curious. I was like, why? Why? She was like, the next time I saw her, she's like, I was thinking about that question. She's like, maybe I'm just different. I don't know. She's like, and then she was thinking about it. She's like, am I different? And I'm like, this is what I like about it. I'm glad that she thought of herself as like, maybe I'm different, you know? I'm like, nice. And I think, and she's like, yeah, maybe we're supposed to cross paths. And I was like, those are keywords right there.
I love
Because
that.
I handed out my resume. I'm like, I know people are going to be judgmental, but the right person is going to see it.
Yeah.
I leave it to
Yeah.
the universe.
Yes.
So, yeah, that it was.
And I don't know why I'm applying this for later in my life. Because speaking of cars, I realized I'm super passionate about cleaning and I am obsessed with car detailing. Like,
Ooh.
and I kind of take it as like, what would, what would, if I'm willing to do something for free and I have so much fun with it, like that seems like a great path, clearly.
Yeah.
And car detailing, interior car detailing, especially, is, dude, I am obsessed with that shit. I could watch hours and hours of YouTube videos. And this summer, before I got this job as a consultant, which is such a crazy difference, like, I was thinking about going to a car
Mhm.
wash, and I was willing to like work for free just to get the experience because I have no experience. I don't even have a driver's license, which is also
Mhm.
a requirement. And I noticed, and like one of the first thoughts that came up for me was, oh, no one's gonna hire me. I'm a female. Like females aren't really in this space. And it's
Oh.
like I automatically put so much resistance on it,
Mhm.
for no reason. Um, but it's like honestly, like even just hearing you just like going for it, I'm like, damn, like what's stopping me, honestly? Like if I know that's my passion, why don't I just go for it? So
Yeah.
this is an inspiration for me too.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I really like. I I thought like, let me just apply for things that like, and just like, not assume I'll get rejected. My assumption was somebody would be interested. You know what
Yes.
I mean? So it was like, it's very likely that I'll get rejected a lot. And even if for every resume that I send in gets rejected, okay, then it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
But like, I think at this point in my life, because like I said, I tried quitting my previous job many times, but
Yeah.
at this point in my life, people rejecting me did not tarnish my value of myself.
No.
I didn't feel that whatsoever. So like that fear of being rejected by someone else was gone. So I
Yeah.
sent my resume like out to every dealership that I felt I wanted to work at. And even that guy being like, "Oh, you're not what we're looking for." I was just like, "You're not what I'm looking for."
Yes.
Because the person I'm looking for would not look me up and down and say that. And actually he's absolutely incorrect. Like I am a rock star. You know what I mean? Like I'm just gonna sell the shit out of the cars, and he just missed a gem.
For
So
real. Yeah.
okay,
Well.
whatever. And then yeah, like this is the first time like I thought that and like really meant it. Like I really felt that like it was just set in stone that like I'm good at this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What a embody, bro, like you're a fucking rock star salesperson. Like there's no doubt about that. And it's like you're
Yeah.
only gonna be trained and get better. Like that's just so solidified. And I love like how honestly easy it is to like just embody a state. And it's just
Yes.
know. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. And like Abraham says this all the time, but like when you really do it, you're like, oh, all you have to do is stop resisting it. Because my natural state is that. My natural
Yeah.
state is like a natural salesperson. Like it's just in a fun, bubbly person who's like always dancing and giggling and like that's just who I am. People want to be around me. It's true. It's natural.
Yeah.
So like anything that makes me think that that's not true is resistance.
Yeah.
So as long as you get rid of that resistance. And I
Just
think
things you want to feel and become. It's like, why would you
yeah,
go?
yeah. Like I thought to myself, okay, like what would be the worst case scenario? That I don't get hired at any of these places, right? And what does that mean? Well, it means that I don't work there. What else does it mean? Does it mean I can't get another job? Does it mean that I'm bad at sales? Does it mean that I'm a bad person? Does it mean, nope, none of those things are true. Okay. So the only thing is true is like that it would be that I didn't get hired. But I don't even know if that's true. And the only way to know is by trying. So there was no risk. It wasn't like, oh, if they say no to me, then I'll realize what a terrible person I am and how like unworthy I am and like I shouldn't even really be alive. You know, like that wasn't a risk. Our minds are a little bit crazy. We sometimes believe that shit.
I just laughing at think that way.
Yeah,
Dude.
and me too. Like I felt that way, but like now, I guess I literally don't. And then whenever and like sometimes it sneaks back up, but like
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I realize that's just a thought. It's not a fact, you know? I get to decide for now. Like, actually, it's not up to me whether or not I'm worthy. Like, I just am. There's no change. Even if I hate myself, I'm still worthy. I can't,
Yes.
that's not up to me, you know? So there is that. I think that's our one piece of free will that's non-negotiable. Our worthiness is set in heaven. Like,
Yes.
we don't choose this.
No.
We choose to believe it or not, but it's unchanging. Yeah. That's the thing too. That's like what I think when you ask me like how did I have the faith is like I felt that love constantly and like
Oh.
I felt that trust too. It's like okay, like and like it wasn't like okay, like when this happens, then I'll know that I'm loved. It's like I was loved in every moment. Like I was loved when it like like when I had to tell my landlord about like not being able to pay the rent and she was like this is really tight. This is not something but she never once like was angry with me or like she was just like, I know you're a single mom. Please, please, please get it to me as soon as you can. And like that situation, like I felt so much love there. And I felt love like with my family when they understood that like I couldn't, like pay for certain things or like even with myself being easy about it, just being like, oh, like I don't like my gym clothes. They kind of need to be refreshed. I'm like, it's okay. You'll get that soon. For
Yeah.
now, like you still have to go to the gym. Don't worry about people judging you and your clothes. They're not even thinking it probably like and those little pieces of love along the way. It wasn't like when I get it I'll be loved. It's like I'm loved here, I'm loved here, I'm loved here, I'm loved here, I'm loved here.
Yeah.
you know yeah.
Dude, it's fun. Now, like, you got the job, the funds are gonna come in, you're gonna get everything.
Yes, and I can't wait to like find out like who I'm gonna meet there and like what's like because I definitely don't feel like car sales is my end goal. Like
Yeah.
I'm here to like change the vibration of the earth and like do like healing work and stuff, which may obviously is going to happen like with whoever whatever I'm doing. I could be driving a
Yeah.
truck, but like I don't feel like it's the end goal, but like so it's definitely like an interesting turn that I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
what
I
now?
feel like I promised myself before. I don't feel like I'm going against my purpose here or anything like that. Because my overall goal, I do want time freedom. I feel
Hmm.
like I'm here, like clearly this worked out for a reason, and I'm here for a reason, and I think it's to help change or transform others. Like it's part of my service to others in this earth.
Mm.
But I also promised myself that at any point, if I ever get the impulse to quit and leave, I'm gonna follow that. And and that kind of makes me feel better too, because it's like as soon as I get that guidance, I'm out of there. Because I know that's
Yeah,
not the end of it.
but that's exactly what following guidance is because even before you took this job you promised you wouldn't take a job like that, but for some reason at this point it felt right. So it's
Yes,
like
$100%.
you're not going back on your word, you're just following your guidance,
Yeah.
and that's like your biggest commitment. So it's like when it's time to make that turn, you'll know.
Yeah.
But until then you're going this direction and trusting that it's the right way.
Yes.
Yep. I think, yeah, very, very similar for this. It's like, okay, this feels exciting to me.
Yeah.
Feels like something that like I want to do. And I definitely like, I could just tell, like, knowing me, like, this is not something that I'm going to want to do forever. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I'm going to want to move up and become like board of director or whatever. Like, I don't believe that. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm gonna have like a lot of fun just like being in sales and like my presence being there and like meeting people. And who knows, maybe somebody will come in and like buy a car and they'll end up like being my, life partner. Like who knows, right?
Yeah.
So I'm open.
We will see. I love that kid so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll know he has a car.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh my god, yeah, that will help to know. I guess like, okay, especially in my city, like you need a car to get around. Well, you don't need a car, but like it's much easier to get around in this town. It's like my grocery store, for example, is about 9 kilometers away.
Mhm.
So for me, it takes like 9 minutes. Okay, like maybe not 9 kilometers, like 5, 6 kilometers. I don't know. It's pretty close driving, but walking it would take quite some
Yeah.
time. You know. So like you would need a vehicle. So if you didn't have a
Yeah.
vehicle, what are you doing?
Because when I was in when I was
Oh,
in
some kilometers.
and he would tell me, he was like, oh, we got like 7 or 8 kilometers left. And I was like, dude, that literally means nothing to me. I have no, let's just keep driving.
Oh my god.
But when
I
he
think
said
that
9 kilometers, like 9 minutes, all right.
oh my god. I think kilometers are like 2 kilometers is a mile approximately. It's not exact, but it's like
Okay.
about that.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like there's like as many the ratio remains the same. If it's 100 kilometers, it'll be like 220 miles. Or like sorry, if it's 100 miles, it'll be like 220 kilometers. Or if it's like, you know,
12.2 kilos is like a pound.
yeah, but I don't know if the ratio is exactly the same
Okay.
between pounds and kilometers. But with temperature now, like every time you go up 1 degree in Celsius, you don't go 1 degree up in Fahrenheit. Because like Fahrenheit, like each degree, like is actually a different measurement. So to me, like I can't convert it in my head. Yeah, it's an equation.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, times 2.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, Celsius.
Okay. So from what I know, and like this is just frame of reference, I know basically anything like 25 to 28 degrees Celsius is my shit. Like
Yes.
like that's good ass weather.
Even 29, 30 is nice.
Okay.
I think like if you like tropical places, even
Yeah.
31 would be nice. But they
Yeah.
would be hot, but you'd like it.
That's my
I don't know
objective.
what that means in Fahrenheit, like maybe like 70 or something?
Yeah,
80?
in Fahrenheit,
Okay.
like once you reach
Nice.
touch to 70s, it's like, ooh, okay, like you don't need a
Okay.
jacket.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah. And if you get to 0 Fahrenheit, it's really cold. But 0 degrees Celsius is cold, but it's like that's like the melting freezing point of water. Where your guys, I think it's like 49 or something.
Zero.
That's Celsius. That makes
Okay.
sense though, right? Zero would be like freezing. That's why the whole world uses that.
Oh God.
I don't know either, but I am not American, so that's fair.
Good to
Oh my
you.
gosh. I would love that too, actually. Whenever you're ready, I'd love to have you over here. It's so
Yeah.
much fun. Okay. Ooh, like if you come like in like springtime, it'll be really good because it'll be
And
warm. We can go hiking. The trees will be
that,
back in action,
yes,
and
that
I
sounds
know
perfect.
some really good spots to hike. Thank goodness.
Dude, I
Honestly,
can't,
people come here to like it's like a tourist town. There's like a big like Ferris wheel and like a part of the town where there's like all these like museums and stuff. That is not my style. I've done it just for like the fun of it, just to like
yeah.
be like, what's the hype? Knowing that there was no hype. But like when people are like, "Oh, I want to visit you," I'm like, "Good, we'll go hiking." Like that's the only thing I'm like, I want to show you all the trees and the river. The Niagara River is, and actually the falls, you're gonna fall in love. Oh my god, when you could feel it moving like energetically. The reason why it's one of the wonders of the world is like it's pretty obvious. It's incredibly huge and like the rumbling and like the power of it. Like you're like, yeah, if I fall in, I pretty much die.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just feel like the power of it. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I always have this like idea. I don't know why. I think a little bit less now that like I've had like a very close call accident in the ocean. But I always think, I'm like, wouldn't it be fun just to jump the falls, just to feel the power of it? Like, I don't want to die or be injured, but I just want to feel it like whoosh. Like, what would that feel like?
I mean, like, yeah, like what would this feel like for real? Like,
That's actually one of my spots that like I really want to go to. Like, if I like when I astral project, like I have a couple other things on my list, but like I want to astral project and like go and like sit in the falls and just like be like, yeah, yeah. And then you can like go through and like sit underneath it and sort of like go behind it too. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was hoping. You were saying you wanted to do like a birthday trip, like a weekend or something. I was like, oh, but not in upstate New York. I was like, oh, maybe you can come to Canada.
dude,
Maybe we could do like a birthday thing too.
dead
It's already
ass.
getting warmer.
I'm thinking about March 28th.
Okay. Ooh. Okay, let's do it.
This is it. Okay. Yeah.
Let me know, girl.
Yes. Oh my God. Dude, I want to do like a disconnect to reconnect type of thing. Where it's like, dude, I
Mm,
don't want to look at my phone. I just want to be out in nature. I want to go hiking. I want to be with someone amazing. Like, okay.
amazing.
Okay. Yeah. Let's keep talking about this.
Okay.
See you soon. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, was there anything else that you had in mind that you wanted to bring up? Oh, I mentioned something about astral projecting, and I think you were going to say something.
Could actually do it like in a setting like the falls. Like, whoa.
Mm. Then you could, like, this is the thing. You can, like, visit planets, you can visit other countries, you can do, like, all kinds of, like, different experiences, like, all with your physical body not leaving your bed. So like you could even walk through like a volcano, an active volcano. Ooh, I gotta get out soon. I know I do every night, but I always forget. Or like I remember like the end tail of it usually. Yeah.
And astral projecting at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like okay, like in a way, like I kind of am winging it when it comes to like meditation. Like sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll astral project, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I'll just ask like a question that I want the answer to today, or like, see if I can get some guidance for the day. And other
Mhm.
times I'm like, oh, I want to channel, or like, you know, and I
Yeah.
kind of like, I don't know, like I only want to like I only really have time to meditate like an hour a day anyway, which is a
Hmm.
lot. But yeah, maybe I kind of want to just like maybe focus on one thing, or I don't know. I'm having
I
fun with
see
it
what
for
you're saying.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.